Hello guys and welcome back. In today's episode we are looking at the fish that we've added to the Brazilian scape. We're looking at 6 weeks of progress, a bit of the plant growth, a few issues that I've had to deal with, and just generally in which state is the tank now 6 weeks into its lifespan. Unfortunately, I've also had my first real setback, or I wouldn't say disaster, but big challenge and a bit of a setback that has happened to this aquarium room. So I will just show you what happened and how I dealt with it. And I think I've diagnosed what happened correctly. So yeah, I'll try to show you this. So the tank has been up and running for 6 weeks now. And initially I saw much stronger plant growth, and the tank was just generally easier to look after than with what happened with the Aquascape. The rotalas grew really well initially, particularly the blood red. And the Monte Carlo carpet also started carpeting up much better and looks much more green and lush, as was the case with the forest tank. Now, as you know, if you watched the first build series on the Aquascape for this aquarium gallery, I bought a couple of German electric blue rams. Now, I initially bought 4 of them, and I actually added them to this tank. I really like the idea of having electric blue rams paired up with this rock-only scape, but eventually I think senses prevailed, and I just transferred them over to the Aquascape instead. That's much better suited for them, or that setup is much better suited for them. I initially bought 4 of them, but I returned 2 of them to the store because I'm trying to get a pair. So over to the main fish that we're gonna keep more long-term in this aquarium. Let's start with the main one, which is the celestial pearl danio, or galaxy rasbora. It's a very popular fish within the aquascaping community, but for good reasons, I think. First of all, it's beautiful, of course. It's very colorful, also for being a nanofish. They almost look like little mini trouts, and I think that combination goes very well with a rock-only hardscape. It gives a sort of wild feeling to it. They can also be a little bit shy and hide away a little bit in the aquarium. Now, mine have been very active and out and about, and I think it's just a very good setup for them. I have 15 of them in here, and if you want to, have them more visible and out, out and going around in the aquarium, I think you should try to keep as big of a school as your tank size allows. Now, adding fish to an aquarium, I've always used this same method. I float the bags and I drip acclimate them. So I add a little bit of my own water to the bag in small portions. Then I pour the fish into a net to sort of not introduce any of that water from the fish store into my tank. And this is a method that has always worked very well for me. But yeah, overall, just an excellent fish, I think, for aquascaping, and also for smaller sized tanks. So I'm really happy with them, and they seem to have been doing really well in this setup. I have paired them up with a slightly more difficult fish to keep, which is the Celebes Rainbowfish. They grow a little bit bigger. So yeah, around the 3-inch mark, I think, is maximum size for them. Normally they stay around 5 centimeters. Beautiful fish, really beautiful fish. They have this, or they will develop this long blue sort of stripe to them. And the males will also get really prolonged fins, which they use to display for the females. Prefer a little bit higher pH, so you should keep it at 7 as a minimum, but it can go up into the 8 as well. You should keep them in schools. They're schooling fish. They're very active in the morning, or just when the lights go on. Then they will, for an hour or 2, display a lot of breeding behavior, and the males will chase the females around in the tank. So yeah, some interesting behavior to them. You shouldn't keep them in a tank smaller than this. So this is 90 liters or 22, 23 gallons, something like that. 20 gallons would absolutely be the bare minimum for them. I will probably transfer these into a larger tank in the future, but for now I keep them like this. Going over to the cleanup crew that we added, once again, we go with a standard setup of otocinclis and amano shrimp. I also added cherry shrimp to this tank. I was actually able to get captive bred otocinclis for this tank, which is quite rare, but I was really happy that I was able to do so. Going into like any issues or similar that I've had with this tank, let's talk about algae. So I had a really big outbreak of diatom algae in this tank after about 3 weeks. What I did at this stage was that I actually introduced what I now, at least, consider to be the absolute best algae-eating livestock that I've tested so far. So I put 5 Cleton snails in this tank. Yeah, as you can see, they just immediately started chucking away at these diatom algae. The first day after I introduced them, you could see these long tracks on all of the stone where they have started eating. After this day, what I did was that I did a light scrub of the stones. I changed a little bit of the water, so approximately 30% of the water I changed. And I gave it 2 or even 3 more days, and it was close to completely gone. And then it has stayed away on its own. So dealing with the diatom algae in this tank was like really simple and easy. I hope you can have the same success if something similar happens to you. The maintenance is really, really small. I do weekly water changes, and I've done a few trimming sessions on the tank. That's basically what I've done. Over to the big disaster, basically, that struck this tank. It was about 4 days ago, and I had just done my weekly maintenance and changed about 50% of the water. When I woke up in the morning, I went in to check the tank, as I do basically each morning, and all of the shrimp was lying dead on the bottom. Some of them had tried to escape the tank, so they were, dried up on the floor in this room. And all of the fish were shipping at the surface, basically for air. I had no idea what had happened really with the tank. So when you come into a site like that, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand that there's something seriously wrong with your water. So I immediately changed about like 80% of the water. I can't drain this tank fully. The fish don't have anywhere to go, and they're quite difficult to catch in this setup. So yeah, I did about like an 80% water change immediately. And a couple of minutes after having done that water change, the fish was doing completely fine, acting completely normal again. I saved a bit of that water and ran a lot of tests on it to try to detect what had gone wrong. Do I have an ammonia spike for whatever reason or similar? But I couldn't find a single fault on my water. There was no signs of ammonia in it. Nitrates was good. There was a smallest tint of nitrite in it, but that can also, have come just from the dead shrimp. Yeah. So I really couldn't find any fault with the tank at that stage. The rest of the day I monitored the tank closely, and it was doing fine. The fish was doing really fine. They ate as normal and displayed their completely normal behavior in the morning. But after a little bit of thinking and after some observations, I think I found out what went wrong and what caused this. So I have had a little bit of difficulties dosing the correct amount of CO2 in this tank. And one thing that has happened a few times is that the solenoid on my regulator doesn't keep completely tight during the night. And this was particularly the case that morning. There was still a lot of CO2 being injected into the water. I also have these lily pipes that is just attached to the tank through suction cups. And what has happened a few times is that those suction cups comes undone, and the lily pipe just falls down to the side of the tank. Now, when that happens, the lily pipe sits too low in the water and doesn't provide any basically surface agitation. And that means that there's no oxygen exchange like from the top of your tank. If that happens at the same time as your solenoid is not keeping completely tight, you're injecting CO2 during the night, and you have little to no oxygen exchange at the surface. And that basically means that you're suffocating your fish, or that can happen. There is also a final piece of this puzzle that makes me fairly certain that I have diagnosed this correct. And that is that there's one fish in the tank that didn't seem to have any problems at all. And that is the fish that should normally be the most sensitive to any contaminations or too big shifts in water parameters. And that is the Otocinclus. That is the most sensitive fish I have in here. But they were doing absolutely fine. They had no problems at all. The reason for this, of course, is that Otocinclus, they can go to the surface, or they do that regularly. They go to the surface and nip a bit of air. So they are not as sensitive to low oxygen levels in the water as the rest of the fish. I didn't think that I was going to feel so bad about it, but I actually did. After all, this is, I mean, maybe I'm getting a little bit too bloody on this, but it's live animals and they're sort of put into your care. Maybe I over-dramatize shrimp or something, but it felt a little bit bad when this happened, I have to say. So I haven't put any shrimp again in this tank. I think I will leave it like this. The Cliton snails is doing an excellent job of keeping the algae at bay, and the tank is now very, very stable. So aside from that setback, this tank has done really, really well, and I'm incredibly happy with it. I think it's beautiful. I've done some minor changes also, or adaptations, just in the last couple of days. I wanted to try Bucephalandra again, so I added a few of Bucephalandras to the tank. I also, just as an experiment, cut off a few strings of the Pinnatifida from my forest tank, and I just attached them more as an epiphyte to a few of these ropes. We will revisit this tank in about 8 weeks and sort of see where we are. Now we are slowly building up to the, let's call it, finale or something similar of this first phase of building this aquarium gallery. That is a much larger tank, so it's a 250-liter tank where we will be building a river-style, more nature aquarium. We're doing it in more of a depth sort of style. I've seen a lot of river tanks built in shallow aquariums, but I wanted to build more of that like calm river stream in a more deeper tank. I am incredibly excited for you guys to see this build in this video. I'm currently building it and it's just so beautiful. I'm trying to incorporate everything that I've learned from these 2 tanks into that build. So hope I will see you in that video. It will come out, it's not going to be the next video, but it will come out about 12 days from now if I'd calculated correctly. Until I see you the next time, thank you so much for tuning in. If you want to follow me on this, where we're building this home aquarium gallery, subscribe to the channel, like, comment, I'll engage with you there. Until I see you the next time, good morning, good evening, or good night. Ciao.